Hello, my name is Joaquin Garzon, and we are going to explain how to create a new web element using Polymer just to show related documents given for a given document. So we just want to add a new element that just show a list of related documents like this, where we can add new relations. For example, saying, okay, I want to add this document. We can choose the direction, outgoing or incoming, and the relation type, for example, is reference by. And when we have created a new relation, we can also remove clicking on the minus icon. So the idea is just to create this structure using Polymer, creating new web elements. For that, we are going to use the operation provided by Nuxeo. This is the Nuxeo Platform Explorer, where we can search for all the operation APIs, etc., provided by Nuxeo. So we are going to search for relations, and we are going to find three different operations. The first one is just to create a new relation, document add relation, to delete an existing relation, document delete relation, and the last one is just to get linked documents, which provide the list of related documents. We can set several parameters as predicates. The valid predicates are defined in two vocabularies, predicates and inverse predicates. And the outgoing is a flag just to set if it's an outgoing or incoming relation. So we are going to go to, for example, the file view, and we are going to see which is our target. We want to just define a new web element, really basic syntax, just to say, okay, I want to import my new web element and use it in my view. Just say, okay, Nuxeo document relation, I passed my document as a parameter, and I will get this list with the add and remove icons. So how we can do that? We must go to create new web elements. We can go to resources tab, and we can use the folder structure of our choice. But usually we just can create a folder called elements, and inside the elements we can create the new web elements. For example, here. So, but before this, I'm going to explain something. We are going to need an operation that provide all the related documents. And the current get linked document operation that we have seen here just provide a relation for a given relation type and direction, outgoing or incoming. So we are going to create a new automation script, call it get all relations, where we just recover the valid predicates. To do this, as I commented before, we need to recover all the entries of a couple of vocabularies. One call it predicates, and the other one call it inverse predicates. And just call this operation directory dot entries, which provide all the entries of a given directory or vocabulary. But we must have in mind that this operation requires special permissions. So we are going to execute this operation between login as administrator, and after the execution of this operation, we are going to log out just to be able to execute this operation as an administrator. With this function, we will recover all the predicates, all the valid predicates, and the next thing is going to recover all the related documents for outgoing and incoming and incoming relations for this kind of predicates, for this kind of relations. So we are going to see this method. It's just we just define the incoming. We must remember the get linked document. The get linked document is just defining the outgoing parameter just as boolean. So this is why we define also the type of directions as true or false. So we are going to call this operation when get linked documents inside a loop, just checking all the direction incoming or outgoing and all the predicates. And at the end, we just put all these recovered documents inside an array, but we are not going to put all the attributes that we have recovered from the document. We are just going to put some of the attributes that are useful for us and return this array with all the recovered documents. So once we have defined this new operation, this automation script, we can go to our new web element called Nuxeo document SE document relations, and the first thing is just to say, okay, I'm going to use this Nuxeo operation web element that help us just to call an operation or an automation script. When we are calling an automation script, we must prefix JavaScript dot and the name of our operation script and the parameters. And in this case, what we are going to do is just to handle the response with this method. So we are going to have the document and the relations, and we are going to update the relations in this method. So it's here is just handled relation recovered is just setting this property with the response that we get from the operation call. Okay, this is the first part and the most interesting. The other thing is we are going to use a Nuxeo table just to show all the document related that are stored in this array that we have populate with the response of the operation call. So with this this table, we just said that items is going to use these relations, and we can access as item dot under property name in the different fields of the table. Usually you have inside a Nuxeo data table, you have different Nuxeo data table columns. And here we are setting the thumbnail. Here we are setting the URL in a link with the title. We are also showing a friendly format for the date, the relation type, and also an icon just to say if it's an incoming or outgoing relation. And in the last column, we are using a new web element called Nuxeo remove relation button, which is also a custom web element that we are going to develop. And at the end of our Nuxeo document relations web element, we have other custom element called Nuxeo add relation. This is the element that is going to show the pop-up when we click on the plus button. Sorry, here. When we click here, it's going to show this pop-up. And the other web element, the other web custom element here is just going to show this icon. And when we click on the on the icon is going to remove this relation. So the basic idea is just an operation to recover all the relations, uh, and with the response we populate a property, and with this property we just populate a table with different columns. The last column is important because it's using a custom element just to remove the existing relation, and other custom element at the end of our file just to show the pop-up. Okay, so the next thing that we are going to show is the Nuxeo add relation dialog. The structure is quite similar to the other web element. We are going to put the first of all an Nuxeo operation web element just to call the relation document add relation. And we can put as input the document ID, and the params are the predicate and the target document, and also the direction if it's an outgoing or an incoming. And we can handle the response of this operation with this method. So the properties of this web element is the document that we are working with, the path of the document, and the direction incoming or outgoing. The rest of the web element is just Nuxeo dialog, just to show a pop-up, which contain basically for field the document selector, the address, and the relation type. And in the button we have the accept and cancel button. So this is exactly what we have. We have the selector just to suggest a new document using a pre-existing web element, Nuxeo document suggestion. We have also a couple of paper radio buttons to choose the direction outgoing or incoming. A new directory suggestion just to choose the right entry of the vocabulary of the directory. We can manage incoming or outgoing relations, so we must use inverse or predicates or inverse predicates vocabulary. And the last section of the dialog is just the cancel and accept buttons. So once the user has filled all these fields and click on the accept button, we are going to call this add relation, which is going to just log all the parameters and call this operation. What we are doing, just saying, okay, this dot dollar dot up creation, this is the ID that we have used it in our operation. So we are referencing this operation. And the last thing is just, okay, we have the reference of our operation. We want just to execute it. And when the operation is executed and we get the response, this handle relation created function is called here. So exactly that we have done previously. We just log the response and we launch a custom element with the response, and we just hide the pop-up. What is exactly what we have seen. For example, we say, okay, I want this file, for example. I choose outgoing, incoming. When we have all the properties filled and we click accept, the relation is created and the pop-up is hidden. So this is what we have done with this operation. We are going to create Okay, if we click on here, we are going to see that this relation disappears. This is done in this other web element. Web element is pretty basic. We have a new Nuxeo operation web element. In this occasion, this time, we are calling the operation called relation.delete operation with the right params, predicate, object on point that we can find in the documentation. We are going to check this. See, we have this operation with the parameters, subject, predicate, and outgoing, and explanation of the operation. So the other thing that we have is just an icon of our choice, and when we click on the icon, we call this method called remote relation. What is going to happen? We are going to log which parameter has been used to call this operation, and we are going to find with this dollar operation delete op delete relation, which is the identifier. We are going to execute it, and when this operation has been executed and we get the response, a new event is fired, and this method is called handled relation removal. So this is here, and what we are going to do, we are going just to call this method, log the response, and dispatch a new custom event that we are going to manage here. For each relation that we add, we just listen for the event, just to have in mind that we must update the list when the relation has been changed. And this is how it works. Thanks for watching.